Hello, all. Welcome to another endgame study from the series Solving Harder Studies to Improve Chess Calculation. This one was composed by the Dutch chess composer Henri Weenink. It made the study in 1917, so a very old one, beautiful from the old days of chess composition. And let's go and try to solve it. As always, I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't. And after the countdown will start, the main countdown, and I will come back with you with the solution. And here we are. And as always, let me start with the first right move. I don't think it's hard, so we can start by it. It's a7, so we want to promote the pawn. Of course, over here, it's simpler to see that if we want white to win, there are no many ways. We need the pawn to promote. At the moment, we are more or less controlling the promotion from the a file, not the same on the eighth rank. So the best opportunity is to go with the pawn to a7, with the idea of when the rook comes back to control the promotion square of the pawn, we can simply check the king. So we are sacrificing the bishop, but of course, if the rook takes the bishop, then I can promote. And I have a queen versus rook endgame, which is winning for white. If you don't know it or you don't master it, I suggest you follow the series that I made about this endgame, a very important one to dominate it. But of course, black can just move the king, but then I will just bring my bishop to b8, so blocking the rook to access the promotion of the pawn. And now there's no way if black comes to check me, and then the checks will finish anyway. So either I lose the rook, or otherwise I won't be able to reach the a file. As we saw, the eighth rank is not possible. So this is a loss for black as soon as I go to rook to g8. So this is the first moment for the guided solution. So we already saw that what looks easy ain't the solution. And the best move for black is to go with the rook g2 check. So now it's a moment for white to play. So if you haven't reached here, as you already know on this series, this is a guided solution. So I will start another countdown. If you have seen this one, you can jump this countdown. Otherwise, you can take the opportunity to think from here. And I catch you again with the follow-up. And here we are, and I hope you have get the opportunity to improve your understanding of the opportunities that white has from here. And as you can see, the idea is simple. If I go up, let's say for example, if I go to b3, then I'm making a huge mistake. So the third rank is more or less forbidden. Why? Because the rook now goes with the same plan, goes to the eighth rank, but how can white avoid the rook to reach a8? Because if we check the king now, as we did on the first analysis, then the rook takes the bishop, but now, because our king is on the third rank, is check, the king moves, and I have time to go back. At least it will be a draw, because from here, of course, black can't win, because the white king is able to approach, but it's a draw, it's not a win. So this is the first thing that we see. And the other thing, it's okay, then I go down. But if I go down, then check, I go up, check, okay. How can I move on from here? Because of course, if I go, for example, to the C file, then this just allows the rook to go back on the A file and grab the pawn. So over here, we are in a very difficult situation that looks like not to be able to progress. So if we go here, the rook checks, and now you have the second opportunity to find the solution. I will start again the countdown if you haven't found it, and I catch you back with the final continuation. And okay, I hope you have found this is the brilliant move for white to discover, which is bishop e1. I should have a brilliant move over here. I don't know. I have it here. So this is the brilliant move from white because, of course, the idea is now if I take the bishop, notice that the bishop needs to sacrifice on the e file. On the f file, it doesn't work. Why? Because now the rook is blocked by its own king to reach the 8th rank. So now the king goes up, check, the king goes up, check, the king goes up, check, and from here it's impossible for for black to avoid the promotion of the pawn. Of course, we will have the queen versus rook in the game, which I hope you already are able to win. Nevertheless, this is the idea. Notice that also after the first moves, so after this check, the king comes down, the rook comes, and then I block it from the rook. This also doesn't work, so bringing the rook to the 8th file is not enough because I will have the same resource now. Check. Of course, if the king moves away, then the bishop is going to block the pawn, and we already saw that's a win. And if the rook takes the bishop, we get the same because now it's not on check, so we get the same end game. And so we finally reach the end of our study. So remember that we always have to find research not only for the defense and also for us like this brilliant bishop e1 to close the game. Hope you have enjoyed the end game study, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.